Srimad.
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari. Jayo Girivaradhari.
Jai Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari. Jaya Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Atira Vanachari.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Radha Madhava, Radhe.
Jai Radha Madhav, Radha Madhav, Radhe.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Subhadrama, Jaya Sudarshan.
Subhadrama, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra.
Jaya Gopal Dev, Gopal Dev, Jaya Gopal Dev.
Jai Gopal Dev, Jai Gopal Dev, Jai Gopal Dev, Jai Gopal Dev.
Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai.
Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Sri Pada, Jaya Guru Deva.
Sripada, Jai Gopala.
Jaya Sri Pad, Sri Pad. जय गुरु महाराज श्रील श्रीपाद की जय। जय जगत गुरु श्री
जय नमो शिवाय।
Jai Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Samved Bhaktivedanta ki jai. So, reading today from the Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 14th chapter, prescribed duties for mankind, verse number 3 and 4. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavatir Uttama Sloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
So, verse number 3. Rajobhi Samasankyata
Rajobhi Samasankhyatāः
Parthivairiha Jantava
Parthivairiha Jantava
Tesham Ye Kechane Hante
Tesham ye kechane hante
Shreyo Vai Manujadaya.
Shreyo vai manujadaya.
Translation purport by translation by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. In this material world, there are as many living entities as atoms. Among these living entities, a very few are human beings. And among them, few are interested in following religious principles. Text number 4. Prayo mumukshavaste केचनैव द्विजोत्तमम् मुमुक्षूणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिन्मुच्येत सिद्ध्यति. Translation purport by Prabhupada. O best of the Brahmanas, Shukadev
स्कंद
Goswami,
है क्यों? छठो स्कंद और पहला स्कंद दोनों हाँ। अंग्रेजी में को नहीं आप अगर नहीं
out of many persons who follow religious principles, only a few desire liberation from the material world. Among many thousands who desire liberation, one may actually achieve liberation, giving up material attachments to society, friendship, love, country, home, wife, and children. And among many thousands of such liberated persons, one who can understand the true meaning of liberation is very rare. Purport by Prabhupada. There are 4 classes of men, namely karmis, jnanis, yogis, and bhaktas. This statement pertains especially to karmis and jnanis. A karmi tries to be happy within this material world by changing from one body to another. His objective is bodily comfort, either in this planet or in another. When such a person becomes a jnani, however, he aspires for liberation from material bondage. Among many such persons who aspire for liberation, one may actually be liberated during his life. Such a person gives up his attachment for society, friendship, love, country, family, wife, and children. Among many such persons who are in the Vanaprastha stage, one may understand the value of becoming a sannyasi, completely accepting the renounced order of life. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarup Damodara Swaminiti Namine Namo Sadbhaktamane Manipurudbhavaya Cha Gopadla Satvani Prachara Niratayate Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyatade Satarine Vancha Kalpatarurvyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Sankirtanam Dyasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamana Tam Namami Harim Param Sansara Sagare Magnam Dinam Mam Karunanide Karmagrahya Grihitangam Mam Uddhara Bhavarnavat श्रीमद्भागवतमाख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्ष कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुख्यर्थं भवसागरे. So we are continuing our Bhagavatam study and Bhagavatam Seva, and in this chapter prescribed duties for mankind are it is being the rarity of somebody eventually becoming a devotee, a pure devotee of the Lord. The the how very rare that position is. Just to delineate it, it is they are starting right from the atoms, the materialistic atoms. They're saying that as many atoms as there, which is limitless, we cannot count it. Asankhya, like say Avatara Asankhya, the avatars of the Lord are unlimited. The same way, these atoms are also unlimited, and as many atoms are there, there are so many living entities of Jiva, the soul. What Guru Maharaj used to scientifically call the spiritons. So these living entities, the small chitkana, we call that chitkana, conscious quantum unit of consciousness, as we say in scientific parlance. This conscious units, these small tiny spirit souls, they are unlimited. And then among these unlimited living entities, there are very few human beings. Those who have a human form, those who have taken on the body of a human being, those are very, very few. And even among those that have a human form, very, very few are interested in actually following the religious principles. The Padma Puran, the living beings within the material world, it is mentioned there are 8.4 million species. And this is a sloka, Jalaja Navalakshani, Stavara Laksha Vimsati, Krimeyo Rudra Sankaya, and then Pakshinam Dashalakshani, Pashavo Trimsa Lakshani, and Chatur Lakshani Manava. So Jalaja Navalakshani, in water, those varieties of aquatics within the water, there are 9 lakh species. Navalakshani. Stavara Laksha Vimsati, that is 20. 20 plants and trees and other varieties of living beings who actually cannot move. They don't move, they are fixed. Stavara, sthiti, they are staying in one particular place, they cannot move. So these trees and plants, Trimsal, Savara Laksha Vimsati. Vimsati means 20. Krimeyo Rudra Sankhya, there are 11 Rudra, there are 11 Rudras. So Rudra Sankhya means there are 11 lakh species of Krimi. Krimi means insects. Insects and, like that, creatures like that. Then Dasalakshani, what is that? Pakshinam. 10 lakh species of birds, and Trimsa Lakshani, 30 beasts, animals with, cloven foot, with hooves, with nails, like that. There are 30 lakh species of animals. But you see, compared to all this, only Chatur, only 4, Char, just 4 lakh species of human beings. When you count all the others, there's 80 lakh species are there. And if you include these 4 human beings, there are totally 84 lakh species. And even the most minimal one, this aquatics, it is almost more than double the number of human species. Like human beings is 4, and Jalaja is Navalakshani, that is 9. Double. It's even the species within the water, it is actually much more than the human beings. So we can understand that getting Durlabham Manusha Janma, getting a human birth, is something very, very rare. And in the human beings, there are many different grades of consciousness, right? So this different grades of consciousness, depending upon one's interest in particular things, the desires or their particular interest. What is the focus of their interest? What is the focus of their desire? Depending on that, human beings also, there are very, very, very few among them who are actually serious about following all the religious principles that are mentioned in the Shastras, in the Vedic literatures. People don't even think about these things. Like when you're in a city, you're a citizen of a country, it is automatic that you follow the laws of the state, right? You follow the laws of the country. As soon as you break the principles, immediately, you're considered a criminal, and you will be punished. So this is the system. This is the system anywhere on planet Earth. But when you take the whole cosmos, this universal arrangement of the Lord, whether it is material or spiritual, there is always some leader, and there is always certain laws that one has to follow. And these laws are ultimately, they are designed by the Supreme Lord. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Directly, the Lord lays down these rules and regulations. It is coming from the Lord, the supreme authority. So people, our whole inclination to come into this material world is because we are rebelling against the authority of the Lord. Why should he enjoy independent? Why should he alone enjoy independently? Let me also enjoy, without any conditions, without any encumbrances. I want to enjoy. Why should I kowtow to this person's authority? Why should I bow down to this person's authority alone? And then, why should I enjoy? Let me enjoy alone. This independent mentality. Simply because of enviousness. There is no other reason, actually. Krishna is fully qualified, the supreme authority is fully qualified, but still, we see, and somehow, this desire to enjoy independently creeps in, and along with that, this envy crops in. And as soon as envy enters the consciousness, the consciousness becomes colored, and immediately, we fall down from the spiritual path. And as soon as we come into the material world, the 3 modes of nature, they offer us a package deal, like they cover with a transparent plastic wrap, and then you put a big brown paper package, and then, the product is given to you. So when you go to the supermarket or something, so same way, this living entity is covered with the subtle body, and then with the gross body, and then, he is thrown, literally, he is thrown into the material cesspool. And Prabhupada is giving this very nice commentary. Actually, it is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. 1 second. See, he's saying this is according to this living entities. He's saying since the living entities are never annihilated, so that Chitkan, that small tiny spirit soul, is never destroyed. It is always there. So he's saying because they are never annihilated, they simply transmigrate from one life form to another. Thus, there is an evolution of forms according to the degree of developed consciousness. So the consciousness, the consciousness is the main part there. One experiences different degrees of consciousness in different forms. A dog's consciousness is different from a man's. Even within a species, we find that the father's consciousness is much different from his son's, and that of a child's consciousness is different from a youth or an old man. And just as we find different forms, we find different states of consciousness. So when we see different state of consciousness, we may take it for granted that the bodies are also different. And this is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhava. One's consciousness at the time of death determines a type of body for the living entity. What type of body this living entity will take. And this is the process of transmigration of the soul. A variety of bodies is already there. We just change from one body to another according to the terms of our consciousness. So even to get a human form, your consciousness has to be pretty much elevated. Otherwise, there are innumerable living entities in other bodies. But even after coming to a human form, if one is not even thinking about following these universal rules and regulations established by the Supreme Lord, then it is, how do you say, you're not properly utilizing your intelligence. Anywhere we go, we know there are laws. Wherever we go, there is a proper way to behave. This is internal thing. It's like an instinct. One knows. One just knows because the Paramatma is inside and he's guiding. But willfully, if somebody is neglecting to follow the principles, that becomes a big problem. So you can see that, it is being mentioned in the Bhagavatam, people who think of even following the regulative principles is very, very rare. Let me follow the rules. Let me stick to the rules, so that I don't get distracted. So that everything, my life's journey will be smooth. And then the next verse, it is being mentioned that, see, among those who follow the religious principles, not just lip service, actually following, even among those people who are strictly following these principles, only a few desire liberation. They're quite happy. I follow the rules and regulations, life will go on. I will get another body, and because I'm following the rules nicely, I will get a better body and, better state of comfort and enjoyment. Let me carry on. They don't think, why should I be suffering like this? Because whatever you get in the material world, whatever comforts you get, whatever enjoyment you get, it is always a mixed package. It's a mixed package. You never get anything, just sheer enjoyment. There is always this distress, suffering, and everything thrown in. No pain, no gain, they say. So there is always some pain there. If you're getting some enjoyment, then you have to pay the price for that. And the price you pay is that you have to suffer. So very few people, they think that, okay, this suffering is there. I don't want the suffering. Let me try to be permanently happy. And permanently happy means being liberated. These three modes of nature, they don't work on. It's called the liberated position. So very few even think of that. And among those who are thinking, okay, who are desiring, let me get moksha, let me get liberated, very, very, very few, hardly few, maybe one or two will get actual liberation, become a muktatma. A conditioned soul, any living entity who is within this material world, he has 4 deficiencies. Prabhupada is saying. There is this karanaptava. Karanaptava means that the senses are imperfect. And then pramada, he comes under illusion. Brahma, he makes mistakes. And then vanchana. Vanchana means he has this cheating propensity. So these things are there. And liberated soul means he doesn't have all these 4 things, these defects and all that. That is a liberated soul. He's out from the clutches of this Maya, this material energy. And because of that, these 4 defects are conspicuous in their absence. You don't find these 4 faults in a liberated person. Jivan Mukta. You don't find. So to actually see somebody who's really liberated is something very, very rare. Because liberated person means at least externally he may be somewhere, but internally he has completely given up his attachment, whatever attachment he has to society, friendship, love, country, home, wife, children, the whole thing. Practically social suicide. Prabhupada used to say. Liberated person means he is not attached, he is completely detached. And then it is said, among those, liberated people, you see, after so much rarity, somebody becomes liberated. But even among those who are liberated person, to understand what is real liberation, the true meaning of liberation, even among those people, it is very rare. And what is true liberation? The real liberation is actually bhakti or devotional service, to become a pure devotee. See, there are different categories of liberation. There are five, specifically five are mentioned. The first one is like Sarupya. Sarupya means getting the same form as a Lord. Sachidananda Vigraha, getting the same form. Sarupya. Salokya, same loka or same planet where the Lord resides, that is the spiritual planets, the Vaikuntha planets. Then Sarshti. Sarshti means developing the same opulences like the Lord. What are the others? Salokya, Samipya. Samipya means being close to the Lord, very close to the Lord. You are always in the direct presence of the Lord. Samipya. And then finally, there is Sayujya. Sayujya means actually merging into the body or the existence of the Lord, the bodily form of merging. But it's not possible to directly enter the body and become some kind of Lord yourself. That is not possible. So actually, they merge into the bodily effulgence of the Brahma Jyoti. We call that the Brahma Jyoti. That is the final one, Sayujya. Devotees, they don't prefer Sayujya because you give up your personality, there is no variety, nothing there. So they don't like. But pure devotees, they don't even like all these five kinds of liberation, they don't care for that. Said mokshata laghu krit, they think it as something very, very insignificant. Who wants liberation? I'm getting so much happiness in serving the Lord. They don't even think about getting liberated from the material. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhakti Rahaitu Ketvaya. My Lord, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha. I don't want wealth. I don't want followers. I don't want, beautiful wives. I don't want all these things. But Janmani Janmanishwari, I don't even mind coming and, again and again taking birth, one Janma after another. I don't mind. But Bhavatat Bhakti Rahitu Kitvai. Please give me your costless devotional service. Please give me bhakti. This should be always a mood of a devotee. So among countless living entities, there are very few who are human beings. And among so many human beings, there are very few who actually want to get out from this material contamination, who desire liberation. And then among those who are desiring, oh no, okay, there are so many living entities. There are few living entities who follow religious principles, actually. And among those, there are few who desire liberation. Among those who desire liberation, there are actually very few who get liberated, one or two. And among those thousands and thousands of such liberated people, to understand the pure nature, what actually liberation means, what is real liberation, this is very, very rare. So in the Bhagavatam, it is the further down, the 10th, 11th canto, I think, it is stated, Muktir hitvanyata rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. Mukti, real liberation, hitva means giving up, anyata rupam, giving up different bodies, changing bodies. We call that the changing body scenario. I had a childhood body, now I'm elderly, and then one day my body will become old, and then I have to give this body, I have to take another body. It's always changing. So this anyata rupam, these different forms, if one is able to give up, and swarupa, there is one original spiritual form that every living entity, every conscious unit has. There is a spiritual form. Swarupena Vyavasthiti. To be situated in that original spiritual form, this is real mukti. This is real liberation. And how you can be situated in a spiritual form, unless you are doing pure devotional service, you are connected with the Supreme Spirit, this is out of question. There is no chance that you will get that. You can go back to your original spiritual. It's only possible by the blessings of the Lord. So, to achieve that, one has to give up this rebellious spirit. One has to completely decontaminate or detox the consciousness. The consciousness has to be completely purified to come up to that level. And when one is able to achieve that, then these things are possible. Even if a person is liberated, even if a person is liberated, this pure devotional service is something much, much superior compared to that. Liberation is just a stepping point for your actual spiritual life. That is not the end and all. People think, oh, let me get liberated, everything is fine. It's not that. That is just the beginning of your spiritual life. Liberation means simply there is no contamination by the material modes of nature. So you are decontaminated. But then what actually you will do in your pure state, this is the beginning of spiritual life. So what you actually meant to do is that you situated in your spiritual form, your original form, and you're rendering service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His pure devotees, His associates. So this is the thing, because this mind, human mind is so much obsessed. Shankaracharya is giving this a very wonderful statement to show how we exist in different states of life, right? He's saying, Bala stavat krida sakta. Balastavat krida sakta, tarunastavat taruni sakta, vriddastavat chinta sakta, paramay brahmani ko api na sakta. Saying, Balavasta, when we are children, small childhood body we have, krida sakta, everybody wants to play. You see, the children are always playing, no cares in the world. Tarunas, when you become little young, you become little matured, then taruni asakta, become very attached to the opposite gender. Boys run after girls and girls are running after boys. And then you marry, you produce children, and then vriddha avastha, when you become old, chinta asakta, oh, how will I manage? Who will take care of me? What will happen to me? How will I distribute my wealth? How will I protect my wealth? When I suffer, who will take care of me? My body is aching. So many chintas. Chinta means worry, anxiety. So, in the same way, from childhood to youth to old age, life passes in so many different states of consciousness. But Shankaracharya is saying, Parame Brahmani ko api na sakta. People, they are not interested in the Supreme Lord. Na asakta. They are not attached. Very few even think about the Lord with the life's changing seasons. It's like different seasons the life is passing through, but this mind is so obsessed with playing or with the different pursuits. But all these worldly pursuits, they don't even think about spiritual pursuits. People, they don't do that. They are not so much concerned with their true nature, the real nature, the real spiritual identity. But rather, they become so much attached with the childhood identity, with the youth identity, with different identity. Mahaprabhu was very clear. He's saying, I'm not even a Brahmana, I'm not a Vipra, I'm not a Brahman, I'm not a Brahmachari, I'm not a Vanaprastha, I'm not a Sannyas. He's very clear on that. Saying, Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Dasa Dasan. My actual identity is that I am a servant of the protector of the gopis, Lord Krishna, his servants, many times removed. I am their servant. This is my actual position. It's not just he's trying to be humble, because this is a fact. This is our actual position. We're just significant servants of the 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 Lord. This is our position. So when one's mind becomes obsessed with this kind of thinking, then there is actually, spiritual progress. One is actually indulging in spiritual pursuits. And, one day at the end of the tunnel, there will be some light, you can see the Supreme. But when one is not even following the basic principles, when one is not even thinking about these things, then, where is the question? So this is the thing. This thing that even getting liberated is rare. And from liberation to understand your spiritual identity is something very, very rare. This is the entire sequence that this Bhagavatam is saying. And it is telling us, that this human form is such a wonderful opportunity. This intelligence given to you by the Lord is such a wonderful opportunity. You please make use of this opportunity to purify your consciousness and to get into your spiritual identity, which is permanent, which is eternal, and thereby you will be always happy. Otherwise, whatever you're going to be doing, whatever you're pursuing in this human form of life, it will all be wasted. It will be just wasted energy, and you will achieve nothing concrete. You want something solid, you want something permanent, and you want always to be happy, then this is the way to do it. This is what you have to do. Serve the Bhagavatas, always remember the Lord, purify your consciousness, and then go back home, back to God. This is a distinction that is offered in the human form of life. And all our acharyas, all the sadhus, all the pure devotees of the Lord, they strongly recommend akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham. Tivra means they're saying akama, you may have no desires, you may be like dead stone, fine, no material desires. Akama, sarva kama, you have all kinds of desires. And then moksha kama, you are desiring to be liberated. But the conclusion is tivrena, very, very forcefully, very in full sincerity, with full force, bhakti yogena. You perform this devotional activity and worship Purusham Param, the Supreme Personality. That's what Shankaracharya is saying. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamati. Please worship Krishna Govinda. Your life will be successful. So, thank you very much for your patient listening. I will conclude. Any suggestions, any questions, any comments? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Sanatan Goswami Prabhu. Jai.
I liked your class very much. Yeah, when Maharaji is having a question, Maharaji, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Chandrat Maharaj.
Absorption. So, yeah, you describe this lot of Srila Prabhupada is describing multiple options here, correct?
Yeah,
after describing the 4 varnas and ashrams and everything, and then karmi, jnani, yogi, all this gradation, bhakta, this gradation. So that's wonderful. So this option is open for everyone, correct?
Yeah, Maharaj.
To upgrade also. So when a person thinks of one's conditioned state, he wonders, where do I fit, rather than considering where he should fit. Or he must fit. Should and must be बहुत बड़ा फर्क है. There's a big difference between should and must. How to pull him towards I must. Means here the ratio is like becoming slimmer and slimmer. Out of so many, and ultimately Prabhupada in the last line says, ऐसे अनेक पुरुषों में विरला कोई सन्यासी बनने के महत्व को समझ पाता है. So my question is, if the option is for every human being, and if we study Srimad Bhagavatam especially, then that should not be our only target eventually, to become that rare. Rare doesn't mean single. Rare could be also multiple, correct?
Yeah, Maharaj.
So please help us. That in the name of prayer, they don't want to isolate themselves. This is not for me. all these options are for all of us, no?
Yeah, there's that.
And if this, as you describe, this present human form life is the most precious, why not go for the best? Why to settle for anything less? Hare Krishna.
Maharaj is canvassing actually to all of you become a sannyasi and increase the family of Krishna. You know, it's a very lofty ideal, but Maharaj, most of us, we don't feel qualified for that, Maharaj. That is a thing. It's very rare, like you said, to get a human birth. It's even more rare for somebody to become a devotee and then, you know, renounce everything. It's not an easy thing. You know, I was remembering this. You know, the Lord is instructing Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita entirely that, you know, if you read the beginning stages, the second chapter fully, it is said, you know, your Atma is not destroyed. You don't worry. I'm killing these people and everything. And then when his son, you know, Abhimanyu, when his son, after hearing directly from the Lord, and Arjuna is such a pure devotee, but after hearing that his son Abhimanyu is dead, you know, he couldn't control himself, you know, because that attachment, it runs so deep. It's not easy thing to transfer this attachment from this family, society, friends, and, you know, to bring it to the lotus feet of the Lord and his pure devotees is not something very easily achieved, actually. And when somebody is actually doing it, you know, we should give full appreciation to people who are actually able to do that. It's not an easy thing at all. So this kind of rarity, like, you know, Prabhupada was saying, one moon will be enough to brighten up the entire night sky. You know, it's so dark. There may be millions and billions of stars all twinkling with their lights, but just one moon, you know, one moon is enough. This is what Prabhupada was saying. If I can get one pure devotee, I think, you know, my mission will be successful. So you know, whatever stage, our aim should always be there. You know, moving in the forward direction. You know, not trying to go back. Should always be there. But like, you know, this individual choice is such a horrible thing. You know, sometimes I think, you know, if we were not given a choice, it would have been so wonderful. You know, because you have this choice and then, you know, you have this free will, you totally misuse that and you land up, you know, putting yourself in grave danger, basically. Grave danger in the sense you get attached to these unwanted things and then you're going to again repeat, you know, keep repeating the same punarapi jananam punarapi man. So it's like you can lead the horse to the water, show him, you know, this wonderful, beautiful lake filled with very sweet water. Please drink, you know, but the heart doesn't want to drink, you know. Maharaj, what can be done? It is an internal thing, you know. You can say so many things, but ultimate issue, you cannot actually force somebody. That person has to do that thing by himself. It has to come from inside. So my understanding is that till a person is not fully qualified, you know, person is not fully ready for that, you know, that thing shouldn't be actually thrust upon him, because most of the times they take something that they cannot handle and then, you know, later on there is kind of fall down or something, you know, it becomes very embarrassing actually. But still there is no loss. There is no loss, because whatever service a person is doing in spiritual life, it is his permanent asset. So my understanding is that you can encourage a person to the maximum, but other than that, you know, we just have to leave it in their hands. Nothing more can be said, because that person, yeah, Maharaj.
Does Srimad Bhagavatam leave this option up to the human being, or it is trying to coerce? Because what really matters is it all boils down to oneself. It boils down to oneself. So do we put ourselves into the other categories, or we want to we really want to work up to that?
I got your point, Maharaj. Bhagavatam is forcing, you know, tivrena bhakti yogena. With full force, the Bhagavatam is saying, do it, you know, must. That is the thing Bhagavatam is saying. But, you know, because we are rebellious by nature, if somebody is saying, do this, you know, very forcibly, we say, no, I don't want to do it. Who are you to ask me to do it? You know, this is a mentality that comes immediately, you know, but the person is saying something for a benefit, you know, one should be actually intelligent to acknowledge that, Maharaj. That kind of intelligence, very high grade intelligence, is very rarely found. But somehow, by your blessings, I think, this thing will be accomplished.
Thank you for
Thank you. Very sure.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Maharajji. Or Balramji is having a question. Balramji, please.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Balram
Pranam.
Prabhu.
Yeah, very nice discussion class also. I have two questions. The first question is about this rarity in getting the human form and perfecting one's life in Krishna consciousness. So this is, the number of living entities that you said.
Yeah.
Out of 84 lakh species, 4 lakhs are human beings. So these 4 lakhs includes also the human beings which are not having the gross body. That means the devatas and they are also included.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. So that means the other lokas, whoever is there, not only in this Bhumandala, but the other lokas, they are also can be human beings included in this species. Yeah.
See, like among the human beings, we categorize, right? This is a Chinese person, this is a African person, this is a white Caucasian, like that. We say, right? Like that, depending on the grades of consciousness, we have Manusha, we have Devas, and then we have these beings in the lower planetary systems, like that, There's all the states of consciousness. That's all.
Yeah.
But when we say human being means they have superior than the animals, compared to the animals. So yes, the demigods, the Gandharvas and, Apsaras, all of them, they will come under this category of, different human beings. You see, actually, this word Manushya comes from this word Manu, Manu, Swayambhu Manu. And Swayambhu Manu is not only the father of all the human beings, but, all the demigods and others also, you see, they all come from that original source, actually, like that. So yes. They are just categorized. They are given names like that, demigods, principal demigods, like that. But
I mean, this Prabhuji, this Manu, because Daksha, after Daksha, he created all the, let's say, birds and aquatics, the trees. They are also, created from Manu indirectly. So that means we don't say those are under Manusya. So, from Manu, everything, all the 84 lakh species, they are created.
Prajapatis, Prajapatis. No, the thing is, human beings, we say, because of this superior intelligence, human beings in the sense that they can work towards, liberation. They can do bhakti and they can get out from doing this papa and punya karma. That facility is there only in the human form.
This implies that we have more number of living entities than even the atoms we have in the whole universe or all the universes. Yeah. I have another question about the liberation. So you said the Sayuja Mukti, the Dhyanis and Gyanis, they get the Sayuja Mukti. And the other muktis, who get actually the other mukti, because in Bhakti Yoga, we don't care about liberation, because even if we get, doesn't matter, Punarapi Janamam, whatever it is, we are ready to come if it is for Krishna. So that means who are the people who are getting this other 4 type of muktis?
Okay. See, all these 5 muktis, unless you are favored by the Lord, you will not get any. It's as simple as that. Unless you are doing some service and you are pleasing the Lord or his pure devotees, means indirectly pleasing the Lord. Either unless you are favored by the Lord, even Sayuja Mukti you will not get. There is no question. You may be a completely impersonalist. You may be doing, many lifetimes you may be doing very strong tapasya. But even to achieve that Sayuja Mukti, this impersonal Brahman Jyoti merging, even for that you have to be favored by the Lord.
Yeah, because they are also concentrating on either the Paramatma or the Brahman form.
Yeah, they are trying to go formless. They are afraid of the personal identity. But these other things, these other 4 kinds of liberations are always offered to devotees. But pure devotees, they don't accept that. See, you get the point. Pure devotees. Pure means their focus is completely on pleasing Krishna. So if Krishna gives them these 4 kinds of liberation, that's fine. If Krishna doesn't give, that's also fine. This is how devotees are. They
So
don't.
this
It
means
doesn't make a big difference. It doesn't make a
yes.
big difference to the devotional service. Yeah.
Because the soul cannot be destroyed. So that means we will be always living there. So that means the pure devotees, they prefer to come back again to this human form. I mean, rather preferring to have this other 4 type of liberation. Is it because I mean they like to get the enjoyment because serving due to I mean the
No. See,
enjoyment they get by
they
serving
don't.
God?
They don't like to come to a human form. That is not how it is. They don't mind in any form, whether in hell, heaven, or human form, or any form. They always pray, "My Lord, let me render your devotional service." This is what they want. Whether it is liberated, non-liberated, any condition they are in, pure devotees always pray, "My Lord, let me always engage in your service. Let there be no material desires in my heart." This is what pure devotees want. They're not exactly praying, "I want a human form, let me come back and, let me deliver." They don't think like that. A pure devotee thinks, "I am the most fallen and everybody else is liberated." This is how they think. So there is no question of them, trying to come into a human form and deliver others. They don't do that. You got the point. But for them, it makes no difference whether they are liberated or non-liberated. For them, it is Jivava Marova. It is either they live or they
So
die, whatever
this
position.
means, yes, Prabhuji. This means they want to have the mukti, having this body also. They are not, I mean, not Bidaya Mukti, but the mukti they are always like to have by having this body so that they can serve God.
How
So
you are
that
making this conclusion, Prabhuji?
No, they are actually, they want the real mukti, which is always to be engaged in the service of the Lord, no matter they have a material body or a spiritual body. This is the thing. They want to always be engaged in the real liberated position of serving the Lord eternally. Whether you have a material body or a spiritual body, it makes no difference. They want to serve the Lord. That is real liberation, because that is what the soul is meant to do. They are not aspiring for a human body. They are aspiring for the service of the Lord.
They have the spiritual body, then automatically they are liberated, isn't it?
Yeah.
But even they don't aspire for it. That is the point what Prabhuji is trying to convey. But you are taking it like they are aspiring for spiritual body. Your point is conveying like.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Yeah, very nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
See, the thing is sometimes, when I was like very new in devotional service, I'm still very new. But, those early days, I used to think, why is the Lord giving us this opportunity to indulge in all this kind of nonsense, right? Why is he giving that free will? We were trying to shift the blame on the Lord. The Lord is the one who's creating all these things. And then he gives you all this ignorance and he makes you do all this nonsense. He makes you undergo all this suffering. It is not like that. The Lord is also giving you the other side, get out of this, be in the association of devotees, do this. But people, they don't want to do this. Bad things are so attractive. Everybody wants to indulge in that. Though we pay such a heavy price for that, it's not something that is easily given up, because we are addicted to that for many lifetimes. This conditioning is so bad. So rather than blame the Lord, we have to blame our own stupid consciousness that, we are not even trying to upgrade and move in the proper direction. So when one comes to that level of understanding, the fault is with us. Krishna is kind, like a father, he's giving the child all these options. Now the child has to make a wise decision and choose the best option. That is up to him. But if he chooses a wrong option, he pays the price for that. He has to suffer for that, or he has to enjoy. Material world enjoyment and suffering, both are bad. Both are equally bad. But spiritual world, it is bliss. Bliss means unending enjoyment. There is no cessation of that kind of happiness. So very few people even think of these things, but when one comes to that level of thinking of these things, then he becomes really serious about actually doing, proper devotional service. Whatever devotional service you are doing is, without attention, it's like maintaining all these material attachments and it's not even pleasing to us. What to say about pleasing the Lord and other devotees? The kind of devotion we are doing is not even satisfying us. But still, the devotees are kind, the pure devotees, they always encourage us. Yes, you keep moving, you just keep doing this thing. So that one day you will actually relish the nectar which is coming from this pure devotion service. So, other than their mercy and their blessings, we have no hope. This association is the only thing which keeps us going, which keeps us strong in devotional service. Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone?
Yeah. Anyone else is having any question, they can raise the hand and ask his Grace.
Ekaki Amar Nahi Paye Bal. Alone, we don't have strength. Tumara Karuna Sara. Guru Kripai Kevalam. You say Karuna, the mercy of the spiritual master is everything. So unless we get the mercy of devotees, alone, we will never have the strength to overcome Maya. Maya is too strong. It's not possible. But when you get Guru's mercy, means Krishna is giving you mercy directly, because Sakshat Haritvena. So this is the thing. So one should always be, as far as possible, engaged in trying to please the Guru. Then you will get his mercy. And as soon as you get his mercy, you will become so strong, nobody can defeat you. Maya Devi can try all the tricks, but it will not work. This is the thing. But otherwise, the whole purpose is defeated. The whole thing is defeated.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So, Govind Maharajji and Vrashpati Maharajji both are having something to convey. It seems. Yes, Maharajji, please.
Brihaspati Maharaj wants to say something.
Yeah, you can finish. You have raised the hand first.
Okay, so my question regarding the human form, correctly described? We have to define what is human form. Like Krishna says, Gudham Param Brahma.
Yeah.
Fill in the gap. Manushya Lingam. Manushya means two-handed. So those who don't want these four kinds of vibration, because if they go there, they will get four hands. They don't want. So they have another option to go to Golok Vrindavan.
Yeah.
They can have two hands. Without liberation, they can love. So that option is there, available. And regarding my question again, I want you to elaborate a little bit. We have to make the message of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam very encouraging for every soul. Yeah. So although Krishna mentions this rarity that somebody comes to me, so it ultimately boils down to, do I want to meet Krishna? So on that point, we cannot be divided. So pull us together, Prabhu. And one more thing, it's not matter of taking sannyas. It's a necessity or inevitable or indispensable. It is ultimately what it is that will make us make Krishna interested in us. Yamai Vaishya Vinute Tena Labhyas Tashyesha Atma Vivinute Tam Sam. That secret is to be searched out for everyone. The third sloka of Chatushloki. In that relation, please explain why not become discouraged and feeling horrified. Oh, Krishna, I'm interested in you, but you have made it very difficult. No, Krishna has not made it difficult. Krishna is saying you can become, right? He's challenging the human intelligence. Hey, human being, you are most intelligent. So if I don't challenge you, who else will take my challenge? So please come forward, accept my challenge if it appears like that. Everybody can be a rare person, although apparently says, oh no, some rare. So do I exclude myself in that rare or I include in it? That's the question.
See, I used to love Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj because, they, even though a person feels very unqualified, completely contaminated in a horrible state of existence, still they made it look like, you can do devotional service and you can achieve Krishna. And I used to wonder actually how, how does one go to Golok Vrindavan, how one goes to Krishna, how one goes to this Vaikuntha planets, because even in those planets, there's no difference, but still, Golok, two-handed form of Krishna, Shyam Sundar form is very attractive. And Vyasatirtha Maharaj was mentioning that in, Manipur, Bhakti Vyasatirtha Maharaj. So he said, if you remember Krishna in two-handed form at your time of death, right, then you go back to Golok. But if you're remembering some other forms of the Lord, Narsimha form or other forms, then you go to one of the Vaikuntha planets where that particular avatar or the expansion of the Lord is. The thing is that the Lord is a supreme father, and naturally the father wants his family together. No father wants that the family be scattered all around. And Krishna is doing his best actually to drag the living entities back to all these rebellious souls back to the spiritual world. When one is actually rotting in the material world, one understands how lonely one is. You may be surrounded by many people, all professing, all kinds of love and friendship and so many things. There are so many package deals are being offered, but still, people who actually love you for you, that you will only find in the spiritual world, and you are there in your own original element actually. So if somebody actually understands this, that what the pure devotees are risking, and how much amount of hardships they are undergoing, how much amount of spiritual blood they have to spend to bring one living entity out from the clutches of Maya, the kind of effort they put. If somebody understands, one will go wholesale and one will surrender and pick up this devotional process just like that. And just by simply beginning this process of devotion, all auspiciousness comes in, all your miseries go away. There are so many wonderful things are achieved. And this mediocre existence that we are living, Guru Maharaj said, I think, to Govinda Maharaj, that, don't be mediocre, right? You achieve something, become distinct, become something special. Like human beings, they are distinct from other animals, right? But even among the human beings, you become something special. You become distinct, become a nice devotee of the Lord. So this encouragement is always there. And then one should pick up this opportunity. If one is not picking up this opportunity, it is the greatest loss actually. One should always pick up this opportunity. So Maharaj is encouraging, and that is true. This devotional service is Ananda Kanda. In Kali Yuga, it is so how do you say? It's so sublime. It is so enjoyable that all you have to do is just chant and take prasadam and dance. Prabhupada always used to say, "What is the difficulty?" So there is no difficulty as long as one is simple. This is a very simple process. It may not look very easy, but it is simple. It's very simple. Just chant, take prasadam, and you dance in ecstasy. That's all. This Kevala Ananda Kanda, this whole process is simply bliss, condensed bliss. So, Maharaj is saying, don't scare people that this is very rare. So you give up on this rarity, but then you see the prize at the end, Like Prabhupada used to say, you shoot the rhinoceros. It is very difficult animal to shoot, As soon as it sees something moving, it immediately barges at you with that whole weight. Even big vehicles, it can topple over. That is how powerful. But if you shoot and kill such an animal, you have achieved something very rare. So at least we should try. We should try sincerely to achieve that thing. And the result, then the result is something very, very glorious, very, very fortunate, very, very magnanimous thing that we achieve. And then to become a nice devotee of them. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much. It's like a lesson to all of us. Thank you. Harish.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, respect Maharaj, please.
Hari Bol, Dandot Pranam.
Dandot Maharaj.
Madan Manohar Prabhuji. I only have to add something.
Please,
Not a question. Is that okay?
Maharaj, please.
Yes. So nice. And regarding this forcing, I want to add a little bit. You see, throughout our life, we are being forced by so many different people for various things. First of all, we are forced into the womb, and then we are forced out of the womb, and then we are so many things. We are forced to go to school, we are forced to learn so many things, we are forced to study hard, we are forced not to play as much as we want, and we are forced not to go into devotion. Of course, that is an odd example for this. What I am trying to say, but what I am trying to say is that there is a lot of force to get married, and there is a lot of force. There are so many forces that are acting upon us.
So many pressure
When
to
you
be
see-
normal. don't be abnormal. They say.
We are being forced so many ways, and we oblige many of them, right? Because we see them as our well-wisher and friend. But in the spiritual line, we don't. It's not the same way. Same way we allow to be forced, because who will force us for something better? Only our friend,
Real well-wisher.
real well-wisher. So if I don't allow, then I am lonely. I don't have any friend, right? I'm lonely. Because anyway, material relationships, they are anyway going to leave us soon, sooner or later. So the material realm, anyway, it is fixed. We are going to be alone. None of them are going to be with us in this life itself, and ultimately at the end of life, no doubt about it. So we should understand that if somebody is forcing me, it is for my benefit. So that shows whether we are on the path of self-realization, or we have given it up after some time. At least if you see our acharyas also, Srila Prabhupada was also forced to go and meet Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. And Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur has forced Srila Prabhupada, please give up your dedication to freedom movement. Krishna consciousness is more important. I did not say give it up. He said he cannot wait for freedom movement. Freedom for the India to get freedom, we have to go out. And if you see, Guru Maharaj was also forced to meet Srila Prabhupada. Right? He gave ultimatum. Our friendship will be finished. Right? So, what Guru Maharaj will think? He accepted him as his friend. So, Guru Maharaj accepted. And he went and he found something wonderful. So, so forcing is really good if somebody is our well-wisher and we see something better, So Guru Maharaj went and Srila Prabhupada forced Guru Maharaj that science, not only forced, completely destroyed the science. I mean, not that destroy science. I mean, destroy that everything can be scientifically established, or so there is always force, and Krishna forced Arjuna to fight. Arjuna was crying, right? Krishna is the ultimate well-wisher. He did not leave Arjuna even when he was crying. When Arjuna was crying, Krishna didn't say, "Oh, you are crying. Okay, I will not tell you." He said, "Aswachan annoswachastvam prajna vadansya basas." You are speaking learned words, but you are a fool. So there is different levels of friendship, So if you don't have anybody who will force us, then we are lonely. So better to have some friend, Vaishnava friend. who will force us. And a Vaishnava friend is very, very handy because he knows everything about us. A close friend is very, very handy, In the public, they don't know us. They know very nicely dressed, putting tilak and giving wonderful lecture and, and nice quotations and very dynamic, enthusiastic, dedicated. But our close Vaishnava friend will exactly know about us. They say a friend is like a mirror,
Yeah.
because friend is very, very close. So we should have some friend who will force us. If we are truly interested to progress. This is my humble request. Please have one friend who will force you without minding your, without being sensitive to your likes and dislikes. for your own benefit, our own benefit. We should have, And when we are forced and when we see, it is a wonderful experience, So, in Guruma's time, I was forcing one of our god brother little bit to become full time. He was a little bit uneasy, and Guruma said, "Brajapati is your friend." so like that, we should also force sometimes. We should not be simply spectators, and something is not good. Like sometimes our His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Govind Maharaj, he is very kind to correct us. So it is a blessing. I realize. So like that, when you senior Vaishnavas, they advise and correct, sometimes pleasant, unpleasant, but you should see this is for my benefit, for the larger my benefit. So let us be not lonely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for that addition. Yes, Prabhuji, we can conclude.
Yeah. Guru Maharaj Shri Shripad ki jai. Jai Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jai B.A. Bhaktivedanta ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
His Grace Madan Manohar Prabhu ki jai. Thank you, Anand, for joining. See you all in tomorrow's class. Hare Krishna.